Alright, last week I made a video where I started to build my own cookie banner, and today we're going to continue that video. And the reason why I'm making a cookie banner is that sometimes it just feels a little bit overkill to use a full-blown consent management platform. It's harder to implement, and it's also sometimes it just doesn't feel right to pay monthly for something like a cookie banner. You just want something that is quick to set up, easy to use, and also free for everyone. So that's why I decided to make my own, and I thought it would be a fun exercise to just do this in front of everyone. So this results in very long videos, probably not for everyone, but I want you to know that once this is done, I will put a link in the video description where you can download the solution for free. And this week we're gonna finish the whole thing, but probably next week, if everything goes as planned, I will be making a video on how to set up the thing and implement it on your site and maybe customize it even a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's dive in. All right, let's talk about what we're gonna do. And this is where we left off last week, at least a little bit, because there's one thing that I did off screen beforehand. I went in and I changed the text. So last week we just had lorem ipsum text here. I already went in and came up with some sample text that you can use in your cookie banner. But for the rest, this is where we left off last week. For this week, I have made a list of all the things that I want to do today. So the banner copy, so the text in the banner, I already did that off screen, but we're gonna finish the styling. We're gonna make the whole thing responsive, or we're gonna test if the whole thing is mobile and desktop and it like works across all devices. We're gonna link to the privacy statement. That's also an addition that I made. There's a link in the privacy statement here, and once somebody clicks through that privacy statement, we're gonna hide the cookie banner there so people can actually read the statement before they give consent. We're also gonna make a piece of code that you can include in your privacy statement so people can see their current preferences. So if they already gave consent, they can see there what their consent status is currently, and where they can open the banner and manage their preferences. So that's a big part that we're going to do today. Also, we're going to add data layer calls. So once somebody gives consent, we want to have some kind of GTM integration where we're going to follow up on that consent, and we're going to clean up the code because I just built, and we're going to just clean it up a little bit. And I have some notes here for myself, and we're going to try to integrate it in GTM, and we're going to test if it's working on a production site. So that's what we're going to do today. It is I have approximately 2 hours, so I hope that it will that we have plenty of time today. Yeah, let's start with the first one here. Finish the styling, and by finishing the styling, I want to start here on the settings because this doesn't look pretty yet. I want to make these nice toggles, but also I want to refine it a little bit because it's a little bit too basic for my liking. So we're just gonna try a little bit and see how we can make this a little bit better. So let's start there. I have my code here. Again, it's really simple. I want to repeat a couple of things. I don't have a complicated build process because setting up the build process would take me approximately 1 hour. I don't have that time. I just want to build the whole thing. Also, I'm using, so the consequence is that it's really basic code, but that's the whole point of the thing. I want it to be simple and customizable for everyone. Also, I'm writing this in old version of JavaScript. So you're not gonna see me type let or const, but it's all var, and you're gonna see a lot of these for loops, for instance. And the reason being is that I'm gonna include this code via Google Tag Manager, and Google Tag Manager only allows for ES5 with some exceptions, but that's the reason why you're mainly gonna see ES5 code right here. So for all the developers that are watching that are shouting at the camera or shouting at your screen, like, why are you writing it like this? I'm not a developer like in my daily life. I don't have complex build processes set up. So I'm just gonna keep it very simple, and this way also it's really easy to follow along and customize for somebody that just knows a little bit of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right, yeah. With that introduction out of the way, let's start with our styling, and I want to style this right here, and we're gonna make toggles. So we may need to change our code a little bit, but let's start with like we wrote it like this. So it's a label, and the label is nice because a label is clickable. So I can just click here, and the whole thing goes. You don't need to press the checkbox necessarily. And so we're gonna start there. Let's go into the CSS code. And do we already have something for the main? No, it's just header. So let's go underneath here, and we're in the main settings, and then we're basically gonna style this. So setting, and we have 3 of them. So let me just mark them real quick. So background color pink. And you'll see immediately, like, what are we styling here? Oh, why it's not working? Why you don't work? Clear black background color. Why you don't work? Settings. Oh, it has the background color, but probably because it's inline. So I'm gonna make a display block. Show settings, yeah. So these are the elements that we're styling currently. I want to space them a little bit in between. So margin top, let's do 15 pixels. The thing with margin top on these elements is probably that we're gonna have a margin here as well. So yeah, there you go. So the first one, I don't want to have a margin on the first one, I think. So usually I would do something like this. So first child, and then margin top 0, because I want margin on the second and the third. I don't want margin on the first. But for some reason that doesn't make any difference. Maybe, no, I don't know. I'm not gonna speculate, but just to be sure, I don't want to have the margin top on the first one, but then the second one and the third one I want to have margin. So they have a little bit spacing. I might change it later. Also, I want to have some padding on the left. So the padding here on the left is gonna be, let's do 40, because we need to have a little bit of space here. Show settings, yeah, there you go. And I'm gonna make the checkbox, I'm gonna make that like position absolute, and I'm gonna position that inside of this space here. So the setting itself is gonna get a position relative. I'm gonna show later what this does, but by itself it doesn't do anything. But I want to have the input, and yes, I already made that a separate element, so I'm really glad that I did that. So clear cookie input, and I'm gonna say position absolute, top 0, left 0, and it's gonna be positioned 0 pixels from the top and 0 pixels from the left, and it's gonna take the setting as a reference or starting point. So 0 at the top, it means 0 at the top from that setting label right here. And the reason being is that I did position relative on the wrapper here, on the label. So the input that's in the wrapper is going to be positioned accordingly. If I remove the position relative, it's going to be positioned right here at the top. So it's just 3 checkboxes all on top of each other. So position relative is needed to make sure that it's relative to that wrapper. All right, I hope that is that clarifies a little bit. Let's not make it pink. So that was just for explanation. Let's remove that. Let's see how it looks now. So Yeah, okay, the setting name, we're gonna make that bold. Font weight, bold. Yeah, that's better. And I want the input to be slightly lower. So top 3 pixels. All right. Now we don't want, so okay. So you can click here. I want if for people that use a mouse, I want the pointer to become a hand, so that means that this is clickable. So cursor, pointer, show settings. Yeah, now so as soon as I go over this settings, I get a pointer. You see that? So here I don't have, because I can't click here, but here, oh, and of course this is not clickable. Should I disable it here? Probably yes. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. Yeah, let's do it now. So this HTML is generated by our script. So if you haven't watched the last week's video, I will put a link in the video description. You can see exactly how we built it. It's gonna take a while for you to watch, but if you're interested, if you've been watching this far already, you're probably interested in how this works. And we wrote a function here, build settings list, that just generates the HTML for that settings list. And I want to give an extra class name here. So here, this is where the class name is generated, and we're already putting in the category name, but I want to do something else here as well. So this is probably not the prettiest, but let's just write if and then I'm gonna include no, that's gonna make it a little bit too messy. So we're gonna keep our code a little bit cleaner. So settings HTML plus equals, and then settings HTML plus equals, and then we can just continue with the whole thing. And then in between here we can do something like, okay, if we have a required category, and then we can do something extra. And in this case I want to add a modifier class name, so that's and then that says required. And let's see if this works. So currently the top label doesn't have this extra class name, so it only has the body settings. Oh, and by the way, the name here is uppercase still. I want to make that lowercase. So while we're in here, let's do that also. Plus category name and then 2 lowercase. I think it's... So 2 things should have done here. Oh, it's... I forgot to add a space right here. Yeah, there you go. So we've done 2 things. First of all, the name functional here is now lowercase. I find that cleaner. I'm used to lowercase class names. And also we added a second class name that says required. So I know I can do separate styles for required fields. Okay. And the second and third don't have that. Okay, good. So we can continue with our styling now. Let's go. So I did cursor pointer here, but I want to make an exception, because if you are on a required field, the cursor should be auto. I'm not sure what perhaps just an arrow. Is there an, so what are the cursor, CSS, so they're probably help, wait, crosshair, not allowed, grab, pointer. So what's just the default? The default value of cursor is called default. So now you just have a default here, because this is not clickable, and this is it's in the details. But I always like things to work like this. So this is now working. You are able to click inside of the inside of the entire label right here. I find the checkboxes not so pretty, so we're gonna make something else here, and we're gonna use the input div right here that is around the checkbox, and or at least I think. Let's see. What is good? Because I want to be able to do something like. So here's the input, and I want to be able to do something like. Let's make a toggle element, and I'm gonna use a CSS functionality that I'm not quite. That I haven't used so much before, but I know that it is available. So we're gonna make another change to our settings HTML, and again, this is generated through our build settings list function. So and we have a checkbox right here, and after the checkbox has been included, we're gonna make a div that says, an empty div that says toggle. So we have an extra div, and of course, because we're working in a JavaScript string variable, we need to use single quotes instead of double quotes. Okay, good. And now our input div has a checkbox and a toggle, and let's test if I'm going to show you. It's hard to explain what I'm trying to do, but let's just build it out and let's see if this is working. So I have a toggle. We're gonna make this it's already block level currently, so I don't need to worry about that, but I'm gonna make it a width of 30 pixels and a height of 20 pixels. Let's make it let's just do it like this, and then border radius of like 15 pix, background color of like very light gray. Let's see how this is. Yeah, so there you are. And I want to test something, like, can I change the style based on if this is clicked or not? And I believe I don't need JavaScript for that. I believe I can do that just through something like this. So plus, and then check box, like input type check box checked. Let's see if I have this correctly. And otherwise, I'm just going to Google it. But let's make it red. We're still testing. No, it's not working. So check box checked. CSS. Oh, it's a pseudo class, so it's not a dot, but it's let's see if no. Okay, it should go before. So in this case, we're almost there. I think. So no. Input type is checkbox checked. That is kind of what I'm doing right here, and it's currently checked. So this has a hi. Not sure what this means, but let's just test it. And this uses a plus. I thought a plus as well. So input type checkbox, clear cookie. Do I have this one right? Yeah, it's exactly the same. So I'm expecting this whole thing to turn into background color red. Not sure why it's not working. Maybe because I'm doing this. So yeah, there you go. All right, yeah. So this is what I'm trying to achieve. So right now we still have our checkbox right here, but I want the checkbox to go away, or to be hidden. So we're gonna do something like, yeah, so we're gonna just position it off screen. And now we only have, so, and we're gonna do that with all checkboxes. Yeah, so we only have our toggles right here, and I find the toggles too small. So we're gonna increase the size of those. So we need more space. So we're gonna say position of padding left. So we have more space between the border right here and the text. And now we're gonna increase the size of our toggles. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And of course we don't want it to be red. It was just a means for me to have a little bit to see if the style was working. So now we can style the thing. I want to have the a little how do you call it? A little circle in the inside. So inside of the toggle, we're gonna so I'm gonna hide this for now. Inside of the toggle, we're gonna use a so-called clear cookie. We're gonna use a before, and I forgot if or after. Let's do after. And I haven't used this in a while, content, but I think I should be able to do something like this. So I'm gonna the toggle itself, so this box, we're gonna set that to position absolute, no, relative, and this one we're gonna put that in position absolute, and I want it to be 2 pixels from the top and 2 pixels from the left. and it's a display lock level, and we're going to make a background color of white. Now, let's try. It doesn't show currently, so inside of the toggle there should be an after. Oh, of course I need to give it a width and a height, so width. So the outer thing is 40 pixels. I want it to be slightly smaller, so we're going to say 36 pixels wide, and we're going to make it the same, so width and height, and we're going to give it a border radius that is 18 pixels, so that it's the half, so it's going to be round. Oh no, of course not. I want it to be smaller. Yeah, there you go. This is more like it. Still not. Let's tweak it a little bit. So again, I want to make it wider, so we need a little bit more space on the left hand side. So again, I just moved the text 20 pixels. Let's make it 50. Let's see. That's already a lot better. So we can put the text back 10 pixels. Yeah, this is actually not bad. Now we need to do something like so input type checkbox. So we need to, of course, make a checked style. So that's gonna be, we're gonna do transition or transform, and then across the y axis. No, across the x-axis. Let's try what this does. So 4 pixels. Transform. Transform. Translate. That's it, I think. No. Should be something like this. Let's what? Oh, of course, the toggle itself. But I wanted to change the after, so the thing inside of the toggle. Yeah, and of course we need. So the whole thing is 50 pixels wide. -2, so 46. Let's try. So it needs to be on the opposite side. Of course, minus its own. So 46 minus, so minus its own width. So maybe just 20. Yeah, this looks good. So, and of course, as soon as you toggle it on, we're just gonna give it a color. And I already chose a color right here. So let's just use that. So the toggle gets a color, background, color, with the value of and now we can do something like transition the whole thing. So on the after, we're gonna say transition 0.2 seconds, all properties. That's, yep. And we can do the same on the toggle itself, because we're transitioning the background color. That's nice. Of course, the functional, this is a disabled, so you cannot, or how do you call it? you cannot turn this off. So we want to make that visually apparent as well, so people understand, okay, we cannot, it's on, but and we cannot turn it off. So on the disabled style, or required, we've called it required. So let's make a required. We're going to just override the toggle in the required setting, and we're just going to say background color, maybe just black. It's not working currently, and why not? So it's overridden with the checkbox checked setting. Okay. So this is the difficulty with CSS. Sometimes it's just this style is now more specific. So I could do important, and that would solve my problem, but that is not good practice, because 9 times out of 10 somebody will want to change the style in the future, and then they are going to use important as well. So I'm gonna find a different way. I'm just gonna say input checkbox checked. It's always gonna be checked no matter what, so I can just do I think I can do no. Or I can do this. Yeah, there you go. And black, I find black a little bit too dark. Let's go for no. Let's make it darker. Yeah, this is nice. 3, 3, 3. You cannot disable this, and you can enable these. Okay. Like, this is already quite good. I also added, just before recording this video, I added this read more button, and of course we want to have a little bit of spacing between this, so I have made the main, I've called it the main intro. So we're inside of the body, and then I'm trying to keep the same order that I'm using in my markup. So here are the header styles, and here are the body styles, and I'm trying to follow this order also in my style sheet, so things are a little bit easier to find. Clear cookie. I'm just gonna give this a margin bottom, maybe 20 pixels. All right. Now we're getting into a territory of because on my list I wanted to finish the style, and but maybe I should have put something on here with that says refine style, because while this is good as it is, this we might refine it just a little bit, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but let's take maybe a minute or 10 to just try to refine it a little bit. So let's start with the title right here. We have the and one more thing inside of this. When I wrote the text in the cookie banner, I chose to make some sections bold, but as you can see, they are not turning out bold because I wrote font and then I kind of made a shorthand. But this means that everything in the cookie banner, and I did this as well, like all elements should be the same font. But this implies that you're not using font weight bold, but normal. If you leave it out, it's going to be set to normal. So I'm going to say, I'm going to just, I don't want to write it in shorthand. I'm going to say font size. I want everything to be 16 pixels, and then line height, and then font family. And for those three properties, I'm going to say inherit on all elements within my cookie banner. So everything is going to follow this. But now bold will work. To be honest, I don't really like it. And this is also a little bit cluttered. Okay, I'm going to change that back. We can also do something like this. Clear cookie, strong, font weight, bold. Yeah, this is maybe a little bit more elegant. But to be honest, as I already said, I don't really like the capitalized text here, or not capitalized, like the emphasis. I don't really like it. So let's just remove the strong text tags here. In my code editor, I have a shortcut, Command D, that will select. It's going to select like all similar parts, so I can do it all at once. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's style the title. The title is called inner header. So, and you might want to add a logo here. So let's do the title. Let's do that in its own element. So if you want to add a logo, that is possible. And we're going to call this title. And since I expect people to want a logo, let's add a logo here as well. So and a logo will be an image tag with a source and an alt. And so the logo is going to be, I don't have a logo loaded up right now. Let's go into the clear cookie. Let me find a logo. I'm going to do that, try to do that off screen. Will that work? Yeah, we're going to cut it out for a moment. I'm going to find a logo and then I'm going to come back. All right, we're back. I found a logo. It looks like this. It's a little bit too wide. If I would make a cookie banner, I probably would cut off this part. But I just want to continue. I don't want to lose time. So we're gonna link to that logo. It's called Leon Korteweg-logo.png. Let's try if this works. Yeah, it works. Of course, it's too big. So let's make some styles here. Yeah, let's go to the style sheet, clear cookie, header. So now we've created two elements inside of the header. We've created a logo that we're going to style, and we've created a title element that we want to style. Let's do the logo first. First of all, I want to, inside of the header, I want to have things next to one another. So let's do display flex and justify content. No, flex wrap. So that means that if the elements are a little bit too large, it's going to wrap to the next line. Yeah. So this is not going to work with a white logo like this. I've changed my mind. I'm going to edit my logo. So I'm just going to bring it into an editor, and I'm going to just crop off a part of the. So here's my my editor. I'm using Affinity Designer because it's cheap and it does the job, and it doesn't require a monthly subscription. All right, and here but also I sometimes don't really know how it works because I haven't used this so much yet. Why am I not cropping the whole thing? I probably should bring it into no. Oh, I have a transform window here. Or I could do something like this. So there's an artboard. Yeah, let's do it like this. Okay. So the whole point is to make this a little bit smaller. So the artboard is going to be my crop. Yeah. Export. I'm going to say Leon Korteweg logo small. So there we are. Here's my folder. So I'm going to bring it in. Yeah, it's uploaded now. I want to include my smaller logo. Let's see how that looks. No. So now at least it's not running completely off the page. And I want to try to give the logo to set a fixed height and make the width of the logo flexible, because some logos are wider than others. So let's try to do that. So inside of my styles, we're going to say logo, and the logo has an image inside of it. Probably want to style that too. So display block, I want to set it block level. Images are usually inline level. A super small difference, but this is what I'm used to. We're going to give the logo a height of, let's do 50 pixels. And let's make the image, can I do this? Height 100% with auto. It's working. It's not the prettiest, but once people start customizing, they only have to change this value here. So 40 is still a little bit too large. 30, I find 30 still too large. 25 is still, I find it. So inside of here, is this 25 pixels height? Yeah, oh, of course. But I have a lot of spacing around here as well. So we can use a logo. Let's make it even smaller. And there seems to be a little bit of space underneath here. And that is caused by the title. So we're going to set the header, flex wrap, we're going to set that to justify content, center, or no, align items. Always mixing these up, but that means that the items are aligned horizontally, so not to the top all or not to the bottom, but they're all like centered. I think that is doing its job. I'm not quite sure because the title is currently higher, and we want to give the title, we want to make that font white bold, weight, I should say weight, font weight bold, and the logo we're gonna make that, we're gonna give that a margin to the right of 20 pixels. So your privacy preferences, maybe we should reverse those. I'm not quite sure about the order. Okay, let's make let's make a change. Let's go up. We're gonna reverse these. So your privacy preferences is gonna be first and then the logo. And we're gonna say in the header, we're gonna say justify content space between. That means that the logo is going to be on the one side and the title is going to be on the other side, and we're going to give, we gave the logo margin right, we're going to remove that, so it's set to the right of the cookie. And then your privacy preferences, I want that to be slightly bigger, so font size equals 20 pix. Oh no, of course not the logo, the title. Silly mistake. Number 100. Your privacy preferences and then a logo. And of course, if you include an image, you might need to make this a little bit bigger. But for now, it's okay. One more thing. Should this be a little bit more bigger? More bigger? Should this be bigger? Let's try. 30, probably too, yeah, way too much. 24, too much. 20, yeah, let's keep it like this. One thing that I don't like right now is that you have a line here and a line here. So we're gonna remove one of those, footer, and then see how it looks. So let's just hide this, see what it does. Okay. And then show settings. Okay. So instead of this, we could do padding top 30. No, 15. Because I believe the buttons have a margin here. So this is so they have a margin at the top with 15 pix, and then so if you combine it, 15 here, and then with the 15 at the top, you have a 30 pix spacing there. This already looks a lot better. Should it have a shadow? So the clear cookie inner, we can do a box shadow of 0, 5, 30 RGBA black, and then dot 3 maybe. Let's see what it does. Yeah, so you have a shadow underneath, or is that maybe a little bit too cheesy? And also something that I sometimes like to do is in the like the surrounding area to do a blur background CSS. So I never can remember backdrop filter blur. Yeah, so let's try this. I think so. 5 pix blur, will that work? I find this to be a little bit cleaner and a little bit, yeah, what can I say? A little bit more. And then of course, if you press refuse all, it just disappears. So let's bring it back. We're in the cookies, clear cookie. Yeah, there you go. I quite like it. Maybe the primary color should get a little bit more love and attention, because this is not the best primary color. On the other hand, people are gonna change that anyway, but if people are not gonna change it, it should look nice. That's, I think, a good rule of thumb. And if people don't have a logo on hand, you should be able to use it anyway. So let's hide the logo. And again, I have a shortcut here, command and then the slash character. I can just command out the entire line and it should still look good and function properly. So with or without logo, you can still use it. Yeah, so let me just yeah, there you go. A nice color. Where are we gonna find a color? So sometimes what I like to do here is go to, there's this design site. I haven't been here in a long while, but there is an explore section where you can filter by color. So I'm gonna filter. I'm gonna set maybe, and did you know I'm colorblind? So I think I'm selecting a blue now, but I'm not even sure that this is blue. It might as well be purple. But the reason that because I'm colorblind, I always feel insecure about like picking my own color. So I'm always stealing someone else's color, and I'm looking for something a little bit less in your face, but still clear, and a little bit fresh, and but also a little bit generic, something that would fit with many sites. So I kind of like this color or this color. And I have a Mac app called Color Slurp. And I can kind of steal this color and try it in here. So let's try a couple of colors. So I have a primary color in my button. It's here, but it's also in my toggle. So we're gonna select it all. Oops. And for some reason, it's not exactly the same color everywhere. So that's also, oh no, this is of course the Hoover. And here, so let's, and here. Okay, let's do the toggle first. And the button. And we're gonna do the Hoover later. So it's a very small difference. It's almost the same at least that's what I'm seeing. Maybe some of you are thinking right now totally different, but again, colorblind, so I'm going to I do have a login. Let me try to log in real quick. So is it in my last pass right here? Yeah, there you go. So this will enable me to scroll a little bit deeper here. Let's try a different color. So here's another one. Color Slurp. So again, very, very similar. Maybe I should just stop this, because this is kind of a confirmation. Kind of a confirmation that I had the good, that I had a good color to begin with, or maybe not. So I started with this, and this is what I have now. Yeah, it's a super small difference. Almost cannot see it. Okay, I prefer this one. I'm gonna do this, and now the button hoover color. So once you hover over, yeah, that's nice. What I like to do is I like to use the grays that I have in my cookie banner to make those kind of the same tint. I don't know if that's if you can follow along, but and also this link should be the same color. So let's do clear cookie A color so now it has the same color. Don't really like that, to be honest. Is there a secondary color that we can use? Maybe this one. So now you have like a secondary color there. Accept all, show settings. Is this good? Let's go back into the hoover color. I want to choose something else, maybe a lighter color. No. Maybe more saturated and a little bit darker. Yeah, but still I want it a little bit more darker. And of course the link should have its own hoover color as well. So let's do this hoover and then make it darker, dark saturated. Yeah. And let's give it the same transition that I did on the button. So clear cookie anchor, transition. Yeah, there you go. Again, the grays that I have here on the border. So I have a border bottom here somewhere. So it's E and E5, E5. I want to kind of like use the same values all across, and also I want to try to see if I can use that blue as a basis for the gray. Let me show what I mean here. So I'm gonna let's do the buttons first. So I have let's look for my button. Yeah, CCC. This is the button style. But if I pull this in to the left, I almost have gray, and so here it is. Here it is. This is 100% gray. But if you want to derive your grays from your primary color, what you can do is pick a color that is that is close, but not on the left side. So, and you could do some. These are the colors that I usually end up using. So the lighter colors here and the darker colors more here. So let's find a bluish gray that's close to CCC. So let's try, and we're just gonna try it. If it doesn't look good, we can just roll it back. To be honest, I can't really see a difference. I think it's a little bit too blue. So, and let's compare this to what it was. So it was CCC, and this is what it, yeah, I prefer this. It's really small details. And then the Hoover, I made it black. Let's go a little bit lighter and maybe derive that from our blue as well. So in this case, we're gonna choose a darker color. So let's try something like this. So maybe a little bit too dark still. And so this is the color that I'm ending up with, and maybe that's the same color that I can use under the functional or the required style here. So let's go in. Yeah, it's quite nice. So is this the best color? You probably want to change this anyway, but I want to have a couple of good defaults. It's better than what we started with. Kind of not quite sure on this one currently. Maybe make it a little bit darker here. No, I liked this one better. Yeah. So what about the buttons? Should we make them bold? Let's try. So all the buttons, we can make them bold at once by doing a, let me see, font weight bold. It's maybe a little bit too much. Or maybe on the primary buttons only. And so one thing that I like to do here is, instead of saying, okay, I want the accept and the save buttons to be this style, I want to do primary. Because I want you to be able to decide what buttons are primary. Because you might want to do all buttons primary. So let's change that in the cookie banner. So I have, in my case, by default, I want the accept button to be primary. Let's do the modify. So let's do that here, and the show or the save settings to be primary. So accept all. Yeah, so it works. To be honest, I don't like the Hoover style, so I'm going to change that once more. This is really good content. Maybe just something like this. Totally different. No. Let's do this. Still don't like this color, functional, so I'm gonna change that also, because we're here now. Let's try this. Because I'd like the color by itself, but once I clicked this, I didn't like them side by side. So let's, yeah, there you go. I find this better. Maybe we can make the descriptions a little less harsh on the eye. So this is called the setting description. Setting name, and then we have a setting description. Font, no, it's just called color. And then we can do something like, hey, let's do a derivative of the blue as well. So instead of the full blue, let's do something like this. Nice. The title, setting name, yeah, so one thing that I like to check is this still valid? Is this still readable? So what you can do is check contrast, hex color. So there are tools for this, contrast checker. So my background or my foreground is this one, and it says it fills. So it doesn't have enough contrast. It's not readable enough. Oops. Yeah, this gray is not readable enough, so I should make it darker. What about now? Is this good enough? Let's check. AAA, so very small text. It fills for very small text. Or maybe like the high standards. But let's just increase it a little bit more. Yeah, now it's good. Is it also visually nice? It is. I want to change this gray as well. So let's do the toggle. The toggle has a background color of E. Let's see. Let's make it lighter. There you go. To be honest, I still don't like this one. I have changed that like a lot of times now, but let's just... Yeah, I think I find this a little bit better. We can always change this later. But okay, let's stop here. We have made some refinement to the style of the cookie banner, and I might change it later. But for now, this is we already used more time than I planned, so we're going to stop here. You can use a logo, or you cannot use a logo. It doesn't matter. It works on both. In both cases, and of course you can change the style however you like. All right. So on the list, refine styling, we want to check if this is if this works with all devices, and this is very important, of course. To be honest, I have made this on a desktop device, so I'm kind of used to starting here. Perhaps I should have started on a mobile device, but because for many people that's all they see, for many users that's all they see. But let's put this on mobile, and let's see what happens. And so I'm gonna click inspect, and then I'm gonna open up this device. How do they call this? The device toolbar. And let's just pick a very small device. So iPhone SE is the one, or XR. This is a small device. And it works. We could perhaps do a little bit of style, or like a little bit of room to the left or the side, so you see that it is actually a banner. So let's do that. It doesn't need too much, but let's do padding. So padding 2 pixels. So it's like really, it's not, but you can see that it is a banner. It doesn't hit the sides. And what I also want to, let's pick responsive here, and let's just make it like smaller, but also smaller in this sense, because this is a scenario that I want to kind of avoid or take into account, that the screen is so low that you will not be able to see everything. Well, of course, the inner can never be more than 100%. So let's do let's start here. Let max height, max height 100%. This is probably not what you want, because 100%, we need to test this on mobile, because I find that mobile devices tend to add like buttons over this. So you can, in this screen, you might think, okay, it works, but then you open it up on a mobile device and then you think, okay, no, max height is actually too much. We could also do something like calculate and then 100 vertical height minus 50 pixels. So we kind of account for a little bit of space there. And then of course it is always in the middle. Or we could do something like this, 100%, and then on the wrapper do padding 2 pixels, and then 50 pixels on the bottom, and that forces this whole thing to be at the top always on smaller screens. Of course, now we're not going to center it, so it's not. Almost don't see it here. But on smaller devices, I want to prevent like a toolbar, like a Safari toolbar, to hover over my cookie banner. So that's why I'm doing this. Let's do 2 pixels in general, but then say and add media. Max width, and we're now at 400 pixels. Let's try this. Clear cookie, padding, bottom 50 pixels. So it's not working. And that is probably because my media selector is off. And I never can remember, of course. Yeah, you see that perhaps I should do this on let's make it 450. Okay, responsive. And so what happens if you are like on a very small screen, and we never wanted this to like float off the screen. So kind of wondering what to do. There are a couple of options. We can make the whole thing scrollable. So inner, we could do something like overflow y-axis scroll, and then we are able to scroll inside of here. Maybe that is sufficient. I think it is. And of course you don't see the refuse all button all at once, so people need to scroll for that. That might be a problem. And well, how does it look when I enable the logo? Because we need to account for that as well. Of course you have it starts wrapping. That is what you want, but I don't like that it is immediately against the okay, let's do this. So and now our CSS is going to be a little bit this is why usually I like to use something like SCSS to make it, to keep it a little bit more organized, but we're not gonna use that for now. So I'm gonna do this. So clear cookie, we're gonna override the header, and we're gonna say display block. So if you're using a logo and you're going under, let's do under 600, then it's just gonna go to the, because below this we're gonna assume that the logo doesn't fit anymore, and now we need some spacing, or we can do flex direction column. This is quite nice. Didn't mean to do this, but and then perhaps do column reverse to kind of, yeah, and then do a, let's align items left. Let's try flex start, of course. No, let's keep it in the middle. Let's do a margin bottom 10 pix. So with logo, this whole thing kind of works. And we might, like the header, has quite some spacing around it, and the title, I find the title to be a little bit too how do you call it? Let's do the line height to 1.2. Almost no difference. Okay, that's not it. Let's do the header itself. Let's do a little bit less padding. So padding, bottom, 15 pixels. This is strange. Okay, we're gonna remove this. It is what it is. Let's do it like this. So we can scroll past this. Show settings. Let's view this at 100%. Okay, what I'm thinking right now is the buttons should be just full width underneath one another. So let's try to do that, and let's see if that is nice. So a button. And let's do width 100%. Text align center, and I probably should do that on the on here. Yeah, that's quite nice. Maybe from 450. Because here it works, here it fits. Well, it doesn't fit. So 500. And I'm still kind of worried that this is enough space. So let's do more, just to be sure. And we're going to test this later, of course. But I want to be as confident as I can be. So 70 pixels. We don't want any like toolbars to go over this. So people can just scroll past this. Show settings, refuse all. Yeah, we obviously need to test this on mobile devices to make sure that this works, but yeah, I'm kind of happy, and let's see if it still works. Here it does. Hide settings. Okay, right now the button and these are not aligned properly. Let's see why that is. Because the logo has a margin at the bottom. Yeah, and I only want that on mobile devices, not on desktop devices. So I'm just gonna say this is only on mobile devices and this is on all devices. So again, yeah, now it's aligned perfectly. Good. Is this, does this have enough contrast? That's what I'm thinking right now. So we're kind of, no, it's not. It needs a different color for that. Okay. So the read more text should have a different. Okay, let's try. How about our primary color? So I'm guessing that this is a very strict, because I always thought that 3 versus 1 was a good contrast. Let's see if it has some explanation here. I used to have this other tool. I haven't installed it yet. Contrast.io. Or level AA requires. Okay, and this passes the AA. So I'm gonna assume, check later if this is correct, but I'm gonna assume that that is enough for this. Let's go into our link. Where are we at right now? So it just needs to be a little bit darker. Let's see. What if we do this? No, not yet. Not there yet. To be honest, now I don't like the color anymore. Oh, it's not that bad. Let's see, where are we at? Pass. Okay, I'm gonna keep it here. Now the hover color. Okay, good. Good. Okay, on our to-do list, we have we can check off responsive design. Now we need to make a link to our privacy statement, and because the people that care about their privacy, you're gonna tell them that this website uses functional cookies, and with your consent, we also use analytical and marketing cookies to measure the effectiveness of our marketing campaigns and personalized content and advertisements. We may share this information with our advertising analytics partners. Oh, we need a dot character there. Let's do that first. But then there is there's a read more button, because we have a privacy statement or a cookie statement. You can decide for yourself what you want, but you want to link to a page where people can read more about exactly what kind of data you're collecting. So on my okay, this is going to be a bit hard to build right now, but let's just make a privacy statement sample page, privacy statement sample page, and we're gonna link to that page. Well, because we're now not developing on one page, but we're gonna develop on 2 pages, I'm gonna put the style sheet and the script in its own file. So let's do that first. So cookie clear cookie.css. There you go. Clear cookie.css. And clear cookie.js. There you go. So we can just say a script source is clear cookie.js, and for style sheet we need to do link. I always forget. Let me just check my own site, leonkorteweg.nl. Link and an href. Yeah, there you go. Clear cookie.css. And then let's see if this works. No, it doesn't. Let's see what's... Yeah, this is link href. How do I do it here? Link href. I'm just looking for a link CSS. Rel style sheet, that's what I'm probably missing here. So clear cookie on the index. I'm gonna do a rel style sheet. So there you go, and I get an error. Should I close this? I don't even know. Script tag HTML. This is the stuff that you never use, and then of course yeah, I need to close this script. There you go. Yeah, there you go. I've now excluded the entire script, and the read more button, I'm gonna link that to the privacy statement. So I'm gonna say /privacy statement.html. And I have already created a privacy statement.html, and it's just the same. Oh, oops! It's the same page. So once I click now to the privacy statement, I just land on the privacy statement, and I'm gonna assume that this is I'm gonna give a sample page, a page full of text and maybe a table full of text on like what exactly are we tracking. For those of visitors that are interested in their privacy and care about their privacy and want to read more, we can link to that page now. But as they end up on that page, we want them to be able to read that page without the need for accepting or declining cookies. So we're gonna in our script, we're gonna do something clever. We're gonna try to find out, like, are we on the privacy statement page? Are we on the cookie page? And if so, we're gonna just hide the cookie banner here. So I'm gonna assume that for those of you who are gonna customize this, you just want to change up this link, and from my script I'm gonna read that link. So if you change to a different privacy statement page, the script should adjust itself automatically. All right, so in our initialize function here we have a show cookie banner. Function, and it has a couple of requirements: if the cookie banner is present on the page and if cookie hasn't set already. But I'm gonna give a third condition. this, and that's just gonna be a check that checks for is on privacy statement, or let's call it cookie statement. Some of you will have a separate cookie statement, and that's gonna return true or false depending on, like, is it currently a cookie statement, yes or no. So we're gonna do a small function. Where are we gonna do that? Underneath here. So we're gonna clean up this because it's a little bit too messy for my liking. A function, but we're gonna do that later, is on cookie statement. So we're gonna in our banner, and we already have our banner, I think so, yes, this banner. So in our banner is a read more button. So var read more equals this banner, and then we're going to say query selector, and then we're just going to find the first link in our banner, and that should be our read more. And we're going to check if we have a read more. So window location, so the current page, href, index of, so is the read more href. If it's not the same, and you can even do a relative path in here, so it's going to check the href here, and if the href is inside of the full URL, it's going to return. It's not going to return -1. So this means it is we're on the cookie statement page. Then it's going to return true. Else it's going to return false. And for those of you who are going to remove that button, we're going to check if it even exists. So it should not be null. Yeah, there you go. It doesn't work yet. So because I am currently on the privacy statement, let's use console. So console log read more. So clear cookie loaded, href reach more href. So clear cookie. So I filled in a relative URL, but JavaScript is giving me back a full URL. That's a good lesson. I didn't know that. But and let's also test the window location href. What's that returning? Because I want to compare those two, and that is exactly the same URL. So maybe I should just do, instead of making it difficult for myself, maybe I should just do window location href if it's the same as read more href. Then, because then we know for sure that we're on the cookie statement page, and else we're not on the cookie statement page. So is on cookie statement. Oh, I know what's going wrong, because on the init we're checking if we're on the cookie statement page, and if so, we're going to show the banner. So I should do the opposite. So I can do the opposite with the exclamation mark, and now it's going to hide the cookie banner. And if I go back into the index, it's going to show the cookie banner. So if I click to read more, now I can read my statement. And I can go back. This is good. So that's the first on the to-do list, hide cookie banner, so people can read the statement. Check. But now I want to make a piece of code that will let you see the current preferences and open the banner and manage your preferences as well. So we're on the privacy statement page, and we're gonna make a small piece of code. Div ID clear cookie settings. So you don't see it yet because it's an empty division, but I'm gonna use my cookie banner code in order to fill this out. So let's write that. So right here, okay. Let's clean this up a little bit. So I have a couple of things I'm checking here. So if the banner is even there on the page, and if read cookie is null, so we haven't gotten consent yet, and if we're not on the cookie statement page, then show the banner. Okay. Now I want to have a second rule that says show settings, and that's going to check for approximately the same things. So the banner should be on the page. That's not even that important. Consent is also not important. I want to know if we're on the cookie statement page, and if so, we're gonna run a... Oh, there's one more thing that I want to check against. This banner settings equals, and then we're gonna find the element clear cookie settings. Should I do this? Yes or no? Yeah, I guess so. This banner settings, if that's on the page, then, and if we're on the cookie statement page, then we want to fill out the settings. So this generate settings HTML, and then this is going to be its own function, so, or method. So let's do this. A function equals, and that's just going to return or var settings equals. No, we're going to say this banner settings dot inner HTML equals, and then we can just do whatever we want here. So we can say your preferences. Yeah, there you go. Your preferences, semicolon, and then we can just list whatever the preferences, the current preferences are, or we can say you still don't have you don't have your preferences currently set. And also I want to do a something like this. So button change preferences. So there should be a button, and then that should trigger the banner to pop open. Yeah. All right. Let's fill this out a little bit more. I want to accept my cookies for now, and I want to see whatever we are currently saving in the cookie. So we have a couple of things here. We have the consent levels, functional, analytics, marketing. We have a version and a consent ID. So there are probably two scenarios here. If settings are given, so that's kind of this. So I currently have my preferences set. So if I go to the privacy statement, I should see your preferences, and then a list of like how do you call it? All the categories that I've accepted or declined. So we're gonna do a for loop. We're gonna loop over all the categories that we've defined in our settings. And I've done that before, so I'm looking for a copy paste. Yeah, probably something like this. So we're gonna loop over our categories. And I want to read from the build settings list. So there are a couple of things that I need to do here before we can generate it. I want to pull in the current preferences. So maybe I should, after all, do it a little bit different. So I'm gonna probably clean up my code first, because afterwards I will be able to finish this a lot more easily. And then of course we need to do some styling for that as well. So this is a little bit more work than I expected. Also, I see that I'm running out of time. So I might work on this next week too, or okay, let's just continue. Let's see where we land. But we're gonna clean up the code first, because I noticed that I'm kind of working against myself right now. I need to go through the code first and clean it up a little bit. So first of all, I'm gonna remove this console log, show the cookie banner, so this should be its own consent has been given. This consent or settings saved. Consent preferences given. And this is just a small method, consent preferences given, function that just returns this. If it's not null, then return true, else return false. So this is a small function that we can use here. Consent preferences given. And here is not on cookie statement. Then it's going to show the banner. But I want just a method that says this show banner. So we're going to say consent preferences is on cookie statement. We're going to just say show banner function. And we're going to do the same here. We're going to say hide banner. Display none. We're going to say this show banner. Currently not working. Let's see what is happening. Can we do something like this? Clear cookie, show banner. Oh, is on cookie statement. Okay. Unexpected identifier at 158. Oh, forgot a comma. Silly mistake. And now application. Okay. Console. Okay. So for some reason, my last change made something go away. So this banner consent preferences given. If consent preferences have been given, then it will return true. But I want the banner to show if it's not given. So there you go. Okay, silly mistake number 111. Banner settings. Event listeners on all buttons. And then we have a button handler. And of course the button handler is also kind of messy. And the settings list. But the button click handler is very, very messy. So if somebody clicks accept, we just want to call a function that says accept all cookies, or accept all. So we're going to make a function that says accept all function, and then we just paste in our the code that we were using. and probably we're gonna change that later, but let's go back to our so because this is the same function and we want to run this deny all. So function, comma, yeah. So the only line here that's different is this one, consent. Yeah, this one, this line. So we probably can make another function that says and because we have one more here, like save settings, and here we are actually reading the consent from the okay, let's bring this in as well. So this save settings, let's do this, save settings, yeah, okay, that's a unique name, and I'm gonna rename that to save preferences. Okay, save preferences, yeah, and this is also very similar. So this function, and this function is like really similar. So I'm kind of thinking, what can I do to make it such a way that it's not, and I'm gonna zoom out a little bit because this wraps, or can maybe even find wrap, not gonna wrap lines, so I can do this. Yeah, there you go. Save preferences. It's all looping over the categories and the settings. And I'm almost thinking, like, could I do something like a command here that says accept all, or so there's a like an accept all, accept or deny, or like a from settings, or custom, accept, deny, or custom. Yeah, let's do that. So save preferences, I'm gonna change the function name here to all save preferences, but here it is a custom preferences. No, if I'm not giving in a parameter, I'm gonna assume that it's custom. Save preferences, if it's accept, I'm gonna do true, and save preferences if it's false, I'm gonna do I'm gonna assume that it's deny. Okay, so here we are. So this part is if if it's null, we're gonna find the settings. Yeah, there you go. And this line also. So if accept all equals null, then else if accept all, then this is just true. Else this is probably just false, but it was just a little bit more. And now we have limited the amount of code that we're using, and we've simplified it a little bit. So save preferences. If accept all is null, we're going to read it from the... No, we're going to do that different. I don't find this readable, so we're going to do a command equals settings. We're going to command... This is more, we're going to do it readable. Command equals accept all. And else we're going to accept dash all, deny dash all. Okay, so we need to use those. Where are we here? In our button hand, yeah, save preferences, accept dash all, deny dash all, and save preferences from settings. Show settings. So let's test if we're still if it's still working. So application, clear cookie, nothing is stored currently. I'm going to do accept all, refresh, and in my cookie I see functional true, analytics true, marketing true. So all the categories are set to true. Let's remove that. Let's refuse all, refresh the page, and let's see functional is true because it's required. Analytics is false, marketing is also false. That is good. Let's do a layered like settings. Analytics is true, marketing false. Save settings, refresh the page. Functional true, analytics true, marketing false. All right, let's reverse that. Let's do show settings and then marketing true. Analytics false. Clear cookies, analytics false, marketing true. It's all working like as it should. So that's I like this. We are using quite a lot of lines here to do the to do this. So show settings and hide settings. This entire block is managing all of that, but I don't know if there's a way to shorten that. But I'm gonna show these three on top. So this is for the for all the preferences, and this is just for the switching and the toggling of the buttons. Yeah, I have an ID. So toggle settings. We're gonna make a section, save preferences. We're gonna do a toggle settings function equals, because I want to make the whole thing a little bit more efficient. So and event name target class name index of setting. So we can do something like this. This toggle settings show. And then we can do the reverse. And then say hide. Let's see what we can do here. So the main content, and the settings, toggle settings, we're gonna say show settings, and we're gonna do a true or false, because this is really binary. So true or false, or we can even let's do it like this. So true or false, toggle settings, yeah, show settings. So if show settings, let's do shorthand. I never have used this. So if else shorthand JavaScript, because I want to keep the whole code base as light as possible. So condition question mark else, good. So show settings question mark if it's true, otherwise display block. This one is the other way around, block none. And we have some buttons. So we have some buttons that need to be set to none here. Let's see if this works, because if it does, we have removed quite a couple of lines. Yeah, it still works. Save settings, good. All right, so we have a toggle settings, and let's remove this one altogether. Let's just say this settings hidden equals this settings hidden or true. And then once people click that, we want to save state. I'm going to say, let's see if this still works. Show settings. No, it doesn't. And that is because I'm not using this anymore. No. Console log. You see me making a lot of mistakes here, but that's kind of the whole point. So it's all it's true now. This settings hidden equals of course. So this is a little bit stupid but we're gonna say we're gonna save the state here. We're gonna say settings hidden true. And if the settings are hidden, this is true, then main content needs to go to none, and the settings need to go to block. And once that's done, it's going to reverse it. Yeah, there you go. So we've simplified it even more. So we have our button click handler. Now it's looking very clean, and it's now just one line of code. So we could even do this. If so, save preferences. There you go. So our button click handler is very is simplified a lot. Show banner, hide banner, toggle settings, save preferences. And I kind of want a function that it kind of keeps the state of a user in here, because we want to display the state later on in our settings. So the build settings list is maybe a little bit messy. Should we do something about it here? This needs could probably shorten this a little bit. Yeah. Get consent ID. I'm thinking about no, let's keep it like this. Let's keep it simple. However, we want show banner, So let's bring this over here. The banner is just something that we want to use everywhere. We want to the same for the settings. Let's bring it over in here. So something like this. Show banner, show settings, event listeners. All right, we want the state, the preferences. I basically just want it in here. So it's probably going to be an object, cookie preferences, and then I'm going to say bring in cookie preferences, and that's going to be as simple as this cookie preferences equals this get cookie preferences. And whenever somebody saves their settings, so store consent settings, I kind of want to do the same thing. So this get cookie preferences. Or maybe we can even do something like this, cookie preferences, create cookie. Just do something like consent. Or cookie content. Save state, write to cookie. So we basically do three things here. It's not maybe not what you would want in a method here, but it's good enough for now. So generate settings. This is strange. Why am I doing? Oh, I haven't finished this yet. Okay, so let's move on. Save preferences. Okay. So bring in cookie preferences. We want to make a function, probably under the store consent settings underneath here, that says function, something that says, okay, we want to bring in, we want to read the cookie. So this, or var cookie content equals this read cookie, and then we can just pull in the cookie name. Unexpected token at 26, line 26. So this is probably something we cannot do. Okay, so I'm not gonna lose time around. I'm not gonna dive into this. Don't want to do research. I just want to do. Just gonna do this. Yeah, and accept all. Let's see console log. Let's see if this works. No, undefined. Get cookie preferences. We're gonna read the cookie. cookie content. And it's a JSON string. So we're gonna decode that into something. Yeah, there you go. And that's something that we can return. So first of all, we need to find out if this is not null. And if so, we can return the thing. Yeah, and now consent, functional true, analytics true. Good. Get cookie preferences. And the thing that I want to do here is I want this is a string, comma separated. And to be honest, I like for this to be to convert that into an array. So cookie content consent. How can I do that? Or maybe not. Let's do that later. So yeah, we have. So right now on the page, clear cookie dash dash, and then we have a cookie preferences, and we can abbreviate that by doing just setting preferences, because the whole thing is about cookies. So, and also the method get preferences, and store, we have a store method, store consent settings. You can just say store preferences. So clear cookie, we have the preferences. Where are you? P preferences. Yeah, here you are. All right. So I'm running out of time. So I might finish this later this week, or I'm just gonna record another video. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next section. All right, goodbye.